Season 5 of the NCRA Duracell Cup Series rolls into Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600, the longest race of the season outside of the season opening Daytona 500. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Seth Cole, getting ready to bring you today's 100-lap feature, which is going to officially kick off the second half of the regular season, the part of the season that I like to call the chase towards the chase for the championship. We've got 13 races under our belts. Drivers and teams have already made some pretty good headway towards clinching a spot in the playoffs, but still plenty of different racetracks to go to. Mile and a halfs, mile racetracks, short tracks, super speedways, dirt tracks, road courses, all sorts of configurations and opportunities for other teams that may not have even found victory lane yet to be able to maybe pick up a last-minute win and be able to clinch themselves a spot in the playoffs as well. We're going to get to our starting lineup in just a few moments, but first let's go down for trackside ceremonies and kick things off with tonight's singing of the national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in
cars, start your engines!
Pace car will lead the 29 drivers off of pit lane. Just going to give a little bit of a disclaimer here for those that are going to be looking at the running order when we end up bringing up the ticker. The numbers were not changed from All-Star Race weekend. End up having a number of drivers with similar numbers in the All-Star Race and the All-Star Open. Those numbers will get changed when we head to next week's race at the Indianapolis Road Course. Here's your starting lineup for tonight's Coca-Cola 600. Anthony McCrory lines up on the pole position alongside of Dave Campos. Chris Dollerton and Matt McIntyre make up row number 2. Vince Almriego and Stephen Paul III, they're row 3. Diego Yepes, Charles Belding in row 4. Nathan Norman and Daniel Bouchard will complete the top 10. 11th place will be Stephen Colon alongside of Trent Dunham. RJ Bishop in 13th, Jessica Shelton in 14th. We're going to talk about that 0-3 in a few moments. Sean Art, former winner this season, and William Brock, former winner at this event. They're in row 8. Row 9, Zach Rogers and Ryan Brommer. William Micros and JT Bryant back in row 10. Jose Mills, Tristan Allen, row 11. Andrea Sarah and Danny Wells back in row 12. Allison Rain and Zachary Fitzwater in row 13. And in row 14, Bruno Harumi, Chris Washer. Bringing up the rear in 29th will be Bradley Rheem in the 74. 100 laps of racing, 150 miles of action here at the 1.5 mile speedway known as Charlotte. Anthony McCrory going to bring us down into the restart zone. And the second half of the regular season, pointing towards the playoffs, is green. Let's roll. Double wide all the way back through the field, down the back straightaway. Dave Campos not giving up on the top side against Anthony McCrory. McCrory with a rear deck lid full of the former champion Chris Dollerton. As by about a little less than half a car length, Anthony McCrory will lead the first lap of the race. Campos now starting to lose ground in that top side as he slips way up almost to the wall. So Dollerton into second, Almriego slats to third. Battle for fourth between some Toyotas. Yepes on the bottom and Campos on the top. Almriego swaps down to the inside line now on Chris Dollerton. Looking to put that 0-1 in victory lane in back-to-back points-paying races. A couple of things that we're going to be seeing here in the Coke 600 that we did not see during the All-Star race weekend in both the Opens and the All-Star race itself. We will more than likely see green flag pit stops a few times here tonight, as the Coke 600 is known for the long green flag runs. Another thing that we probably will not see here tonight, though, is drivers getting up and into the wall off of turn 4 nearly as much as they did previously last week. There will be times where they will overstep the line. They may not get the grip they need, and they may brush the wall, especially if they're on the top side of three-wide situations, but it will not be nearly as frequent as we saw in the past week. As Almriego moves to the lead, now it's going to be Dave Campos looking to the inside, Stephen Colon right there as well. The team coming into this race, riding the wave of momentum, would have to be S3 Motorsports. Jessica Shelton driving the 0-3 car here this week, and we saw Cole Deaver park the 0-3 in victory lane in the All-Star race last week, of course, as well. It's got to give some momentum to the second entry out of S3 Motorsports, the 09 team, SP3 behind the wheel of that car here today. Dave Campos in that 8 car out in front. It was kind of a running storyline for the last few races of the last half of the first half of the season. The 8 car, the Daytona 500 winning team, and the 19 car, the 2-time winning machine so far this season, the only 2-time winning machine, battling for the overall points lead. That, of course, very important. The winning team at the top of the point standings at the end of the regular season gets 15 bonus points towards the playoffs. And it's still just as close between those two teams coming into the second half of the regular season as it was for most of the first half of the regular season. The 19 car currently 7 points ahead of the 8 team coming into this race. And someone got the wall back there. Couldn't tell who exactly it was. A caution's out, though. So we may get a chance to find out. Yellow flag is out. Based off the speed of the race leader, it looks like these guys are racing back to the caution, which makes me a little nervous because we end up having a similar situation during the All-Star race, and a lot of our race leaders did not slow down afterwards when traffic that was behind the start finish line when the caution came out were trying to catch back up. Yellow flag now has been received by Matt Haas and Vince Almriego. Hopefully these guys woe up if there's still drivers over here on the back straightaway that are trying to get themselves situated and catch back up to the tail of the field. Looks like we're okay. Yeah, I don't see any cars up there behind the pace car, so we should be good. And it's going to be Allison Rheem in the 65 that has got a lot of damage here. Bruna Harumi and Jessica Shelton appear to also have been involved. So I was just talking about Shelton. In fact, the 03 had a victory this week at Charlotte in the All-Star race, and looks like that luck has not transferred over to her. Ooh, slow up, guys. Easy. Well, Trent may have gotten a little bit into the back of Brommer, but not that bad. And I'm not sure where the 65 of Allie Rain is going, but didn't hit anybody as she went on by. That's at least good. There's also some front-end damage on the Twixmobile of Tristan Allen. I'm assuming that that was from the wreck that brought out the yellow flag and not a stack-up, but then again, the replay will show us if that was the case, as pit road is open and everybody's going to come down pit lane. We only ran about 6.5 green flag laps there, but drivers feeling that we may yet still get into long green flag runs, taking the opportunity here under caution to come down and get fuel, and they're all going to go for 4 tires as well, so apparently tires and grip very important as Dave Campos looks to win the battle off pit road, and he is barely going to do that over Daniel Bouchard and RJ Bishop. Let's go back and see what brought out the yellow flag here for the first time today here in the Coke 600. This was obviously based off the lingering smoke and the skid marks in the dogleg front straightaway, the crooked D-shaped front straightaway, I should say. But the question is, who did it start with? And it looks like it could very well have been Zach Rogers in the 6, where this wreck was actually started at. This would have been around the 7th or 8th position. Rogers running very high there off of turn number 4. That's the 47 of Stephen Colon right behind him, who may have tagged him from behind. Oh yeah, Rogers was trying to pull the car back off the wall. Colon was to his inside. Nothing Colon could do. And then the track's just going to get blocked up. See the 65 there of Allie Rain. I think that she's going to be the one that has absolutely nowhere to be able to go. It's Bradley Rheem in the 74 just behind this, as well as Mitchell Collins in the 17. Rheem gets through. Collins does not. Collins gets a hit from behind from Bruna Harumi. And then Harumi gets hit from Jessica Shelton. Nowhere for any of those drivers to be able to go. Tristan Allen got through that, so I'm assuming that the contact or the damage we saw on the front of his race car had to have been from a stack up under yellow. But Rogers with damage, Collins with damage, a couple other drivers that we didn't know about, and then also adding to the list the 21, 65, and 03. So that is what brings out the caution for the first time here tonight. And it's going to set us up for our first restart of the evening. Not certain if any of that contact we saw sustained would be enough to take a driver out of the race. We will obviously keep an eye on that prior to going green. Dave Campos going to be the leader when we go back under the green flag. Not going to be this time by. His lights are still on top of the pace car. Bouchard in second. RJ Bishop, Chris Dollerton, and Roberto Crown Jr. They are going to be, or make that JT Bryant rather. They're going to be the top 5. Vince Almriego in 6th. 7th, Jose Mills. Bradley Rheem in 8th after starting this race back in the 29th position. So nice job of picking up spots early for him. And then it's Anthony McCrory and Andrea Serra right now scheduled to be the top 10. Let's check and see if anybody did retire out of the race. And yes, Jessica Shelton. That damage on the front end of her race car done for the evening. It's going to be a big hit there for the 03 in the point stands, especially with the fact that they were a team that a lot of people were looking at to maybe go for the weekend sweep, the All-Star race and the Coke 600. They came into this race 12th in the point standings as well. Granted, they haven't been to victory lane, but running well in points, and it's not going to be a good points night for that team to start off the second half of the regular season. So lights out atop the pace car, 10 laps under our belts, about to complete the 11th lap and go on to lap 12. when the green flag flies again. For those wondering, the former winners of this race, we have only one of them, I do believe, in the race here tonight. And I mentioned him in the starting lineup. That would be William Brock, who was actually the inaugural winner of this race back in Season 1. Season 2, it was Benjamin Miles who took the checkered flag here. Season 3 saw Levi McIntyre pick up the checkered flag. And the defending winner of this race is not in the field here tonight either. That was Mitchell Collins. So only one driver in the field has a chance to be a multi-time Coca-Cola 600 winner. Everybody else is looking for their first checkered flag of their career in this historic event. Green flag set to come back out here on lap 12 of 100. Still a long ways to go here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Through the restart zone they go. Control car Dave Campus up through the gears, and we are back under green. That battle up at the front right now is going to be for third. Chris Dollerton got to the inside of RJ Bishop. He'll move up into the podium spot, bringing Vince Almriego along with him. And now he'll cross the inside on Daniel Bouchard for second place. But Jose Mills switch from bottom to top there on Almriego behind Daniel Bouchard. Now he's going to get put in the middle, 3 wide for his trouble. Bradley Rheem on the inside in the 74. I mentioned it before, but what a run by that rookie. Started this race all the way back dead last, 29th in the span of 13 laps. He is now up inside of the top 5. Bradley Rheem, former winner this season, back at ISM, trying to get the 74 team in victory lane for the second time. And bear in mind as well, that 74 team is struggling in points, 24th in the standings. If they were to go to victory lane here tonight, they would join the 19 team out of Pigeon Racing as a multi-win team and would leapfrog all the other drivers ahead of them in the point standings that have one victory, clinching them, at least at the time leaving tonight, the number 2 seed in the playoff standings. There's William Brock. Ooh, as Dave Campus to his outside got the wall off of turn 4. Kept it going, but killed his momentum and also checked up. I believe it was Danny Bouchard and Andrea Serra. But William Brock, the 48 car. When he won this event back in Season 1, he was driving for Northeast Motorsports, which has 2 victories here in the Coke 600. Benjamin Miles followed up with a victory the following year. Blue Oval Automotive has a victory with Levi McIntyre in Season 3, and then last year, Mitchell Collins' victory was credited to the team he drove for at the time, Young Motorsports. Kind of interesting, we were talking about during the All-Star race that after Cole Deaver took that event, Ford had 3 victories in the All-Star race and Chevrolet had 2. Well, Ford and Chevrolet are the only manufacturers to have ever won here at the Coke 600, 2 apiece. Brock going to get the wall there in the 48. Austin LaPlante put the 48 car in victory lane at Springfield earlier on this season. That team is 22nd in points, but if Brock were to win here today, same scenario as what we talked about before with 74 team. Pretty much the same scenario for any team coming into this race with a victory. 32 team that Chris Dollerton has out in front right now also fits that bill. Ryan Acosta winning earlier on this year, going coast to coast at Bristol. And there is Jose Mills on his back bumper. Most winningest driver in the Duracell Cup Series, looking to continue to add to his legacy. Trying to add a Coke 600 to his resume and get Blue Oval Automotive their first win on the season. If he were to do that, that right at the moment would put them in a playoff position. How about William Micros? That's Skittles number 93, former winner this season as well. Back in the second race of the year at Manassas, so a driver that won in his Duracell Cup Series debut. And looking strong here, following in the tire tracks of the former champ Chris Dollerton. Speaking of Chris, how about Chris Washer? 44 car out of 4 Racing Enterprises. Of course, the newly formed team that we saw debut back at, I believe it was Michigan. And some great performances out of Washer, Daniel Silla, and Reggie Fogelman. Matter of fact, we saw Reggie Fogelman take part in the All-Star race. He locked himself in, finishing in the top 5 in his All-Star Open. So this 44 team has really shown it's got the speed, it's got the performance, it's got the driver experience to find victory lane. And much like the 95 team out of Evan Gardner Motorsports when Sean Arndt went to victory lane back at Texas, they still got time to be able to find a win or two and maybe solidify themselves a spot in the playoffs despite the limited number of starts they've made as opposed to pretty much the rest of the drivers in the field. JT Bryant, 77 car right now inside of the top 5, trying to hold off Jose Mills. 77 team getting a win with Robert Crown Jr. back at Las Vegas. Another team that's struggling in the points though, 26th in the points of the 29 teams currently in the standings. And now to his inside, Danny Wells in the 15 car out of Legend Racing. 25th in the point standings for that team, still looking for a victory despite having some really good drivers. The aforementioned Wells, along with a former winner of this event, Benjamin Miles, and Tim Walsh. And we talked about Sean Arndt. There he is. Cricket Wireless 5G Chevrolet out of Evans Gardner Motorsports, making his way up inside of the top 10. Right now in the 6th position. Just took that spot away from Chris Washer. Trying to see if he can maybe help that team to leapfrog its way up another couple of spots in the point standings. A victory would put them up in the number 2 seed, should it happen. But right now, Chris Dalwerton looking to maybe potentially lock up the bonus point for most laps led, as William Micros has gotten to him but not been able to do anything with him. The best battling's been going on 3rd place on back. Jose Mills was about 6th or 7th 3 or 4 laps ago, and he has now worked his way back up to 3rd. Now going to try for 2nd place. I'm hearing an idling engine up ahead, and I'm assuming it's a driver that was involved in our only caution of the day. Is that Bruno Harumi perhaps up there in the 21 car? It was hard to tell there off of turn 4. That's indeed who it is. So it all depends on where these race leaders catch her. It looks like it's going to be off of turn number 2 and onto the back straightaway. Where do they go? Dalwerton's going to go to the top. Where does Harumi go? Harumi's going to go up to the top, and that's going to box in Chris Dalwerton. Jose Mills says thank you very much as he'll take the inside line and go to the race lead with help from slower lap traffic. Now you got drivers boxed up on that top side with the 21 car, obviously off the pace. Brock moves into 2nd, Ryan Brommer slots to 3rd, pole sitter Anthony McCurry now moves to 4th, and Danny Wells will now be in 5th heading into turn 1. Dalwerton's still trying to find a way down, as are Micros, Arndt, and Cologne. They might have to wait until pretty much the top 20 bypass them before they can go to the inside. That is a tough break there for Chris Dalwerton, who was out in front leading this race when they came upon the Milka Ford Mustang. And he's going to have to do a lot of work now, working his way back up to gain all the positions that he just lost. Ryan Brommer kicked to the top side. He's going to drop outside of the top 5. Andrea Serra now will be up to the 5th position. So if you are a person that kind of does the by the numbers, well, William Brock won this race. It was in the 88. We don't have an 88 car in the field. When Benjamin Miles won this event, he was in the 33. We don't have a 33 in the field. And when Mitchell Collins won this race, it was in the 22. We don't have a 22 car in the field. The only number that we have in the field that's a former winning number of the Coke 600 would be the 99, when Levi McIntyre went to victory lane here back in Season 3. And Andrea Serra right now has the 99 out of Shadow Cult Racing. Right now up inside of the top 5 in the 5th position, trying to hold off the 74 of Bradley Rheem. Andrea Serra, we're talking about Bradley Rheem working his way through the field. Serra started pretty deep in the field. She was 23rd on the grid. And our race leader, Jose Mills, actually started quite a ways back on the lineup as well. 21st place starting spot. So a few drivers have done a really good job of making their way up through the field and getting up here inside of the top 5 and top 10. Danny Wells would also fit that bill as he started this race back in 24th. So it's kind of proving, at least here in the early going, that track position isn't everything in a race as long as this. How about 3 wide there? Campos, Sarah, and that was Bradley Rheem, who was way up on the top side. He's going to wave the white flag of surrender and drop back into the clutches of Trent Dunham. So Campos working his way back up towards the front of the field after starting the outside of the front row. He's now up to 5th, looking for 4th. Trent Dunham now into 6th. Charles Belding now making his way up into the top 10. Starting to see some new faces here. Getting close to the midway portion of this race. Zachary Fitzwater is now moving his way up to the front. And so too is the 27 of Matt McIntyre. Well, you can kind of hear it, but you can certainly see it there. These drivers now are starting to deal with these cars getting tight. The handling is going away on these race machines the longer this run goes on. Anthony McCurry had to bail out of the throttle through the center of the corner there in 3 and 4. Now he's going to slide up the racetrack in 1 and 2, opens the door for Dave Campos to take 3rd, maybe even 2nd, as he'll stay down the inside, tries to get the left rear of William Brock. Brock tried to cut down in front of him, didn't feel he was clear. Now he's clear off of turn 4, so Brock will hang on to the runner-up spot for the moment as everyone continues to try and chase the 38 of Jose Mills. Campos now to the inside on William Brock. He'll take the 2nd spot, and here comes Belding in the 19. He's the only driver out of that Pigeon Racing entry that is yet to go to victory lane. Carson Gum taking the checkers back at Nashville. Matthew Rodriguez ending that long winless streak at Darlington. So Belding trying to continue to make more history for the 19 car. He's got a championship with Carson Gums, the only team this season so far with multiple wins, and now trying to complete the sweep is Belding, be the only team so far to have had all 3 of its drivers go to victory lane. Now McIntyre right behind him, the 27 car. The Joanna Atwood's Motorsports entry, the 27 team. Currently 4th in the point standings. They have a victory with Alex Tanker. That was back at Michigan. So McIntyre looking to add to the win total for that team, get themselves up into a potential solidified playoff position. I say potential because in my estimation, if you have 2 victories this season, you're in good shape. But in order to be a definite lock, I think you've got to have 3 trips to victory lane. I think if you get 3 wins here this season in the regular season, you're locked into the playoffs. There's no way you can fall out of it. You're in really, really good shape if you've got 2 victories. But it's not a guaranteed lock as far as I'm concerned, at least not yet. As we get closer towards the end of this regular season, then I think then we can start to call drivers and teams that have gone to victory lane twice locked in. But there's still just too many races to go and too many scenarios where we could end up having 10 or 11 different teams be able to go to victory lane twice in the season. So it's kind of a wait and see and tick them off as we hit each race. William Brock going for 2nd. Let's actually talk about that second half of the regular season. A lot of difficult tracks, a couple new tracks on the schedule for these drivers to have to deal with. Well, we'll get to that in a moment because we've got pit lane becoming a very busy place. Saw a few drivers diving onto pit road there. Charles Belding, Trent Dunham on pit road. I believe it was Nathan Orman. Yeah, it was. In the 17 on pit lane. He was on the tail end of the lead lap. Will probably fall a lap down. Zach Rogers, that wounded Red Bull Chevrolet, coming in this time. Ali Rain off the pace coming down pit road also. Looks like race leader might be coming down pit road this time, along with William Brock and Chris Dollerton. Danny Wells stays out an extra lap. Diego Yepes, Chris Washer, McCrory, Sarah, saw them all staying out. William Micros getting run out of room there as his right sides are off into the grass. Same for Zachary Fitzwater back there in the 12. Looks like all those drivers get onto pit road safely. Turns the race lead over to the 15 car of Danny Wells. We'll see if this strategy is going to play into his favor or not. He's going to come down pit road this time. Yepes is in. So based off of my calculations, most of these drivers went anywhere from 25 to 27 laps on a tank of fuel, which means that they've got 2 more pit stops, I believe, between now and the checkered flag. All right, here's the 19 of Belding. He was the first of the leaders that we saw duck onto pit lane along with Trent Dunham. Let's see where the 19 cycles around to. It's like he'll bypass Dollerton, but he's not going to quite get up there to William Brock and Jose Mills. Brock won the battle off pit lane against the 38. So that pass on pit road might be the pass for the race lead when everything is said and done. Jose Mills going to go to his insides. This could be your battle for P1 once everything cycles around. We'll have to wait and see for certain. There's Yepes in the 78. There's Danny Wells in the 15. They're going to go by him. So Mills, with that pass, is going to go back to the front. William Brock to second. Looks like Danny Wells will slot to third as he's trying to get up to speed here. Belding right now in fourth, and Trent Dunham would complete the top 5 as the field gets super spread out. We'll give you a full field rundown next time by. Belding now looking for third on Danny Wells. His tires warmed up, have a little bit more grip. Obviously a little bit more up to speed as well, so he'll complete that pass for the time being, dropping Wells back to 4th place. Danny's not going to go away quietly, drove it really deep there into turn 3, not able to get to left rear quarter panel. But William Brock might be satisfied to just ride behind the 38 of Jose Mills. We'll wait and see. Is Mills going to lead at the line? Brock in second. Let's give you the full field rundown. Battle on for third here. Danny Wells moves into the 3rd spot now. Belding back to 4th. Trent Dunham right now in 5th. Chris Dollerton's in 6th. William Micros in 7th. Diego Yepes 8th. Chris Washer 9th. Bradley Rheem would complete the top 10. JT Bryant is 11th. Fitz Almriego in 12th. Zachary Fitzwater 13th. 14th. Dave Campos. 15th place Ryan Brommer. 16th Andrea Serra. Anthony McCurry back to 17th. Stephen Paul the 3rd in 18th. RJ Bishop's 19th. And Matt McIntyre right now in 20th. 21st is Sean Arndt. 22nd, Tristan Allen. 23rd is Stephen Colon. 24th, Daniel Bouchard. 25th place, Zach Rogers. 26th is Nathan Ormond. 27th, Allison Rain. And those are the drivers on the lead lap. Bruna Harumi is at least 1 lap down. Yep, 1 lap down right now. And 1 driver out of the race after the first and only caution up to this point, and that is Jessica Shelton. You saw that group there with Rogers, Collins, Harumi, Allison Rain. Well, they might end up getting reeled in sooner rather than later by your top 2. And we've already seen how slower traffic has played a factor into a lead change. Chris Dollerton lost the race lead to Jose Mills when they were trying to get around the 21 car earlier on. So we'll see what happens here, as it also looks like the duo of Danny Wells and Charles Belding are making better speed than Mills and Brock, so we could have 4 cars up here battling for the race lead momentarily. Let's check the lap times. Yeah, 29.5s for these two and 29.2s for these Chevrolets. You can visibly see the gap is closing up, as I believe they have caught the draft. Let's see what the interval is this time. It was a little less than 9/10 of a second. It's now 6.5 tenths from Danny Wells up to Jose Mills, so they are catching them for sure. So we may have ourselves a 4-car pack. William Brock sees that group coming, that duo, so he's going to get to the inside of Jose Mills. Try and see if he can get himself to the top spot before they are reeled in. Ooh, not going to be able to do it. That car got really tight on the bottom. Mills going to have the draft here on the front straightaway. Brock stays tough to the left rear quarter panel. Is he still there going into turn 1? Yes, he is. Mills left the door open, and Belding is going to follow the 48. Danny Wells stayed up on the top side, so now it's a different set of tandems. Belding's going to help give the bubble push to Brock, and Brock will go out to the race lead in that Cinevis Banking Chevrolet. All right, I said we were going to tell you guys what the upcoming schedule looks like here for the second half of the regular season, leading towards the playoffs. We've got the opportunity now to do so as we continue to watch this battle for the race lead between Belding, Wells, Brock, and Mills. Traffic about to come into play. Next week, these drivers will head to the Indianapolis Road Course. We saw that become a very interesting strategy race last season. Second time that it will be on the Duracell Cup Series schedule. Then it's going to be the Monster Mile, Dover International Raceway, as Belding, Wells easily make the pass there on Harumi. Top 4 do a great job getting by that 21 car here this time. Obviously, it's not stacked up double wide like it was before, though. After Dover, we go to the night race at Kansas. Chicago Motor Speedway. That track has been a lot of fun the last couple of seasons. It's going to be coming back. We then go up to the northeast, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the low-banked Magic Mile. Knoxville makes its debut on the schedule. We ended up seeing Knoxville in the SRX series not too long ago. So it gives you a little bit of a taste of what to expect for these drivers. Then we're not going that far. Knoxville, Tennessee to Kentucky Speedway. The Paperclip short track of Martinsville under the lights. We'll follow that up. Then we go road course racing at Watkins Glen. Tricky Triangle of Pocono follows, and then we go back to Bristol Motor Speedway, but this time it will be the dirt-covered Bristol Motor Speedway. That will be the precursor to the regular season finale on the West Coast at Auto Club Speedway. So all those tracks going to be coming up here on the schedule, and each one will play their part into what our playoff field is going to look like for the 10 race chase for the championship. I've been keeping an eye here on the interval from the top 4 back to 5th place Chris Dollerton, who's picked up a lot of friends, a lot of drafting partners. JT Bryant, Vincent Riego, Diego Yepes, Chris Washer, William Micros, all the way back to around the 15th, 16th position. And they are steadily catching up to the top 4. Last time I looked, they were about 2.5 seconds back. Now they've chipped away about 3.5 tenths. Let's see if it closes up this time with them racing all double wide. No, they lost a little bit of ground that time. So either they need that front 4 to get held up by traffic, start racing, or these guys got to get themselves organized again. They're on the same straightaway, about maybe a third of a straightaway behind the top 4, who are now side by side again. Danny Wells for second place on William Brox. This is going to help that second group for sure. Let's see if the interval closed up this time or if it grew. And it grew again by about a tenth. They obviously want to catch that top 4 before we get to our next round of green flag pit stops, which right now could be anywhere in the next 10 laps, to be honest. There is traffic they will have to deal with. Ali Rain, Nathan Orman, Zach Rogers, all running on the tail end of the lead lap, 25th through 27th. That could also be a reason why this front 4 has been opening up a little bit of gap, as they might be getting just a little bit of draft, a little bit of a tow on these straightaways from those slower cars ahead of them. Once they catch them, that's really going to start closing up the interval from 4th back to 5th. And Ali Rain's going to step out of line there on Nathan Orman. That's going to create a wall for now race leader Danny Wells. Where do these guys go? They're having to really roll up their race cars to not run over the slower traffic. Danny Wells saying, heck with this, I'm going to take it 3 wide. Oh, he's not able to quite get to the inside of Ali Rain, who's pushing up the track, trying to give room, and in turn, almost putting Nathan Orman up and into the fence. That got really tight there into turn 3, but it looks like the inside line is the lane that the top 4 are going to be able to utilize to get by. Oh, man! To get by Ali Rain and Nathan Orman, and then Danny Wells, Zach Rogers making some contact there into turn 1. Boy, Danny Wells taking no prisoners here, almost went 3 wide to get by the slower traffic, and then doored Zach Rogers out of the way going into turn 1. Think this 15 team isn't desperate for a victory? You gotta wonder what tips former Coke 600 winner Benjamin Miles was able to give to his fellow driver Danny Wells for this race. It's an important thing there too. Just because the driver that has won this event isn't in the field, they certainly would have been able to give valuable information to the teammates participating. Levi McIntyre would have been able to do that to NNSCRA, and Mitchell Collins would have been able to do that with maybe not even just Nathan Orm, but maybe also Matt McIntyre, the two drivers representing Joanne Atwood Motorsports here this evening. A check on the interval, back to 5th place, and it's stayed a pretty stagnant 2.2 to 2.4 seconds from whoever has been holding the 5th position. It's been JT Bryan, Chris Dollerton, Diego Yepes. They all taking turns there from them to the race leader. And they have yet to get up here to this traffic as well, so now they're going to have to deal with that. Might slow them up. Chris Dollerton's already had to deal with slower traffic. It's not been his friend here tonight. Lost in the race lead when we encountered traffic the first time. This second group, though, is now starting to get a tow from those slower machines, much like we saw the top 4 have earlier on a couple of laps ago. So that is helping to improve their lap times and helping them to close up the gap just a little bit. That time they lost 9 100ths. So they're still just right there. Dollerton trying to figure out how to get around Ali Rheem and Nathan Ormond. He will be able to get to the inside this time rather than being boxed in as he was earlier on in this race. It's going to be JT Bryan who's going to get boxed in. He's going to lose at least 2 spots, maybe a third if NNSCRA is able to get up here before the 77 gets clear of the 78. Not going to be able to. Bryant gets down to the inside. The leaders catching this traffic has helped Zach Rogers as well. Rogers has been able to gap himself from Nathan Ormond and Ali Rheem, so right now he is in firm control of 25th, which may not seem like much, but if you consider the fact that the 6 team has already gone to victory lane this year with Rogers back at Pukaca, they're fighting and scraping for every point they can get. Because in my opinion, like I said, 2 wins, you're fairly safe. 3 wins, you're locked in. But if you have a victory, you are wanting to maybe be able to get those final couple of spots in the playoffs. I think that's what's going to happen here is you're going to have single win teams get those final few positions, maybe 7th through 10th, 8th through 10th in the playoff standings at the end of the season. It's going to be just a remote few single win teams that are going to get those spots, and it will be those single win teams that are highest in the point standings. So every position, every point is going to matter from here until Auto Club. All right, when are the pit stops? They should be soon, based off of how far they were able to go on the last green flag run. And even when they make this upcoming pit stop, I do not believe they're going to have the fuel to be able to make it the rest of the way. In order to make it the rest of the way, they would have to go another 10 laps here, and I don't see that happening. I think these guys are going to be on pit road before we get to the completion of lap 70. So that should have them roughly about 5 to 7 laps short of making it to the finish. Now, granted, the pace is obviously back down with the fact that the field got itself really spread out, and a number of drivers have just been kind of comfortably riding in their positions, maybe saving a little bit of fuel. So there could be a potential of a driver trying to pull off one of those Hail Mary shots to pick up a victory. I don't know. Just the numbers right now are not lining up for that scenario. But again, these drivers are in the race cars. They're talking to the crew chiefs. I'm just up here in the booth, not hearing any of this information, as I think Belding might be coming to pit road this time. And remember, he was one of the first ones on pit road under the last cycle. Trent Dunham came down with him, and there he is. There's the 1 car coming down pit road this time as well. So both of these drivers, we know for absolute certain if these drivers are short on fuel, they are not going to be able to make it without the aid of one more trip to pit road. It's those drivers that stayed out the extra lap on the last green flag pit stop that we might consider a possibility of being able to make it on this pit stop alone. But with drivers pitting now, yeah, again, like I said, I don't think that any of these drivers, including 15 of Danny Wells, who stayed out an extra lap there, I don't think that any of these guys are going to be able to make it since they didn't reach lap 70, which even then would have put them 30 laps to the finish, and I think these guys are about maybe max able to go 27 laps on a tank of fuel. Danny Wells, extra lap for him. Same for Yepes, same for his teammate JT Bryant. Chris Washer is going to come down this lap, but he's one of the remote few from the top 10 that's coming down this time. Matt McIntyre, Sean Arndt coming down pit lane also. Probably see the 15 car on pit road this time by. Then again, maybe not. JT's in. Almriego follows with NNSCRA, Bradley Rheem. But how about this strategy call on the 15 and the 78? Both of them going a lot further than everybody else. Boy, I still just don't see it though. I do not see them being able to make it on this pit stop. Danny Wells led a pretty good portion of that last run, which also surprises me that he was able to go this far. But he and Yepes will come down pit road now at the completion of lap 70. I just don't see them being able to stretch at 30 laps on fuel. But now the fuel window's open. The window is open for these drivers to, in the next 10 laps or so, be able to make it the rest of the way on what they've got in the tank. So, with that being said, do they take the gamble of coming to pit road as soon as the window is open? Do they pit as late as they possibly can and just take on fuel? Gonna be a lot of strategy games playing out here. As I'm trying to find who's going to inherit the race lead, it might be right here between Brock and Belding. Jose Mills fell off quite a bit. JT Bryant appeared to have actually gained quite a number of spots. We'll see once everything cycles around, as we're still waiting for the update on where the 78 and the 15 are going to end up. They just left pit road. Looks like it is going to be Belding inheriting the race lead. Brock will be second, Bryant in third, and then it's going to be anybody's guess from fourth place on back, as we got a couple of drivers getting back up to speed. Danny Wells slotted in fourth. We'll see if he can hold that spot against Jose Mills. Oh, car blowing up. Fitzwater is blown up. He was running in seventh. No caution yet. Oh, there'll be a caution now as he gets hit from behind by Bradley Rheem. And he's going to get hit by Trent Dunham. William Micros, the track is completely blocked. Allie Rain is up and over on the back straightaway. RJ Bishop is collected in the 2 car. It's absolute bedlam off of turn number 2. And the yellow flag is going to wave for the second time here tonight. Oh, and more drivers piling in. Dave Campos just ran into the back of Fitzwater, trying to limp his wounded car back to pit road. Oh my goodness. Just like that, this race is completely turned on its head. Sean Arndt in the 95 is coming down pit road with a damaged race car as well, so add him to the list of drivers that got bits and pieces. There's Bishop. The Mountain Dew Baja Blast Ford Mustang, his day is done. And just like that, it was looking like we were going to have 28 of our 29 drivers probably make it to the checkered flag. That looks less likely now. What in the world happened? And we'll also find out if pit road's going to be open, if everybody's going to come down and try and top off the fuel tank, and it looks like the answer to that is yes, so this puts it even more of a strategy race for these drivers. That caution coming out with about 28 to go, so right around that fuel window. This all started with the 12 of Fitzwater, who had cycled around to 7th place. And the engine just lets go on him. Here it is, heading towards the start-finish line. Just no warning whatsoever. Not certain what it was that went amiss on that Foster's Chevrolet. And it looked like he had gotten his car down to the inside and everything was going to be good. He had done a great job of getting down onto the apron, letting the faster drivers by. I mean, right there, NNSCRA would have more than likely run to the back of him, but he pulls it low. He's carrying an awful lot of speed there, so he's having to use the banking to be able to make sure that he doesn't come back up the racetrack. And I don't understand why Bradley Rheem was running so low on the racetrack. Clearly had to have seen the smoke. So that's not on Fitzwater. That is clearly on Bradley Rheem for not moving up and giving the 12 car the space he needed. And then these guys just come flying in. Mike Gross in the 93, Dunham in the 1. And it's not over. Look at Allie Rain. Watch the hit that she takes up on 2 wheels, and then the center of gravity goes to the roof. She goes for a barrel roll. RJ Bishop. And looking at the 95 of Sean Arndt, I don't see him involved in any of this. So what happens to him? Does he run into the back of Trent? Oh, he does. Oh, and then Nathan Orman's into the back of Sean, and then Anthony McCrory, the pole sitter. Oh man, look at him on the bridge. You see how he left that skid mark there to avoid the 95. Pollard. Whew, gracious. And then where's the 12? Is he up here? Yeah, he's up here. Trying to get back to pit lane, and that time he actually was staying in the center of the racetrack, which I'm not sure why. And Dave Campos runs in the back of him. See if we take a couple of onboards here. Big hits for a number of drivers. That's a tough break for Fitzwater, who was running up, as we mentioned, inside of the top 10. Bradley Rheem. Let's go on board with Bradley Rheem and see what he saw, because obviously he had to have seen the smoke, and I don't understand why he didn't run up higher on the racetrack knowing that there was a car in front of him in trouble just following that trail of smoke. Here's a look. He never changed his lane. Oh, man. Wow. He never changed his line going into that corner. Clearly had to have seen that 12 car. I mean, even NNSCRA was behind the 12 and had the wherewithal to turn up the racetrack to go around him on the outside. We clearly saw that from the onboard. I just don't get that. Here's on board with Allie Rain and her wild ride. Clearly saw the incident, out of the throttle, trying to figure out where to go. Oh, lane just closed up. A wild ride, a barrel roll here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. A bad day goes worse for the driver of the 65 car. So caution out here for the second time today. And it's going to set us up for a restart with less than 30 to go. It's going to be in the 25 laps to go mark. So all these drivers, and I'm going to say this with a huge question mark, are good to make it on fuel? I don't know. I think they are, but I'm not certain. A few drivers did not come down pit lane. Let's make note of that as well. Most of your race leaders came down, but it looks like JT Bryant, Danny Wells, Andrea Serra, Diego Yepes, as well as Vince Almriego, Dave Campos, and I believe Anthony McCrory. Those drivers, I believe, did not come down pit lane. Belding, 8th place on back, did. And so they should be absolutely good to make it on fuel. Chris Washer and Jose Mills completing the top 10 there. The rest of those other drivers, I guess they felt that they could save enough here under pacing to be able to make it the rest of the way, taking that valuable track position. I would be a little bit concerned there about Dave Campos in the 8 car, because he took a pretty good shot into the back of Fitzwater. So I don't know if that would have created any aero damage for him. And we have to remember, too, that this restart is going to be with more than 10 to go, so the lap drivers will be on the inside line here. Bruna Harumi and Zach Rogers will line up alongside of our race leader, JT Bryant. Garage area fills up now. Only Jessica Shelton was back there moments ago. She's got company in the form of Allie Rain, William Micros, Bradley Rheem, Zachary Fitzwater. A gearbox, the issue for him. Also Nathan Ormond, RJ Bishop, Sean Arndt, and Trent Dunham. In the garage, leaving us 20 drivers running, 18 on the lead lap. Rogers 1 lap down, Harumi 2 laps down. And the restart will come with 24 laps remaining here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Bryant the leader, Danny Wells second, Andrea Serra third, Diego Yepes fourth, and Vince Almriego. That is your top 5 as we get ready to go back under the green flag. Fuel, a concern possibly. Another caution may come out. We've only had 2 of them, one at the very beginning of this race and our most recent yellow flag. We may not be done with the carnage here tonight in the longest race of the season. Bryant up through the gears. Gets us back underway, gets clear of the slower traffic to his inside. Danny Wells looking to do the same into turn 1. They'll be stacked up from 3rd place on back. Andrea Serra, Vince Almriego trying to make something happen on the top, but I think they're going to get boxed in. That's going to open the door on the inside line. Diego Yepes going to lead the charge. Dave Campos, Anthony McCurry there as well. Now Bruno Harumi pulls down and boxes in Diego Yepes. The top 2 are going to scamper away for the time being. Now Yepes going to get to the inside of Harumi. That inside line going to start forging its way towards the front. McCurry going to move behind Campos. They'll go 4th and 5th. Belding into 6th. Chris Washer into 7th. See if these guys can reel in the top 2. The Toyota of Bryant, the Chevrolet of Wells, both looking for their first career wins in the Duracell Cup Series. But I think that their toe has been caught by the 78 of Diego Yepes. So they're about to have some company here as we close in on 20 laps remaining. McCurry to the inside of Campos. These guys were side by side to take the green to start this race. McCurry was the pole sitter, Campos the outside pole sitter. McCurry wins that battle up to 4th. Campos about to lose another spot to Chris Washer. I think that front end damage starting to affect the straightaway speed on that Toyota Camry. Belding falling back into the clutches of Matt McIntyre. William Brock there. How about Stephen Colon, the 47? We really haven't talked a lot about him today. He just made his way up inside of the top 10, the entry out of Lake Effect Autosport. Saw the exit of his teammate Bradley Rheem. With that 47 team, 8th in the point stand, still looking for their first win on the season. Tonight could be the night. Tristan Allen with that damage on the front end of his Toyota Camry up here inside of the top 15. He's still got a shot trying to follow up the early season win of his teammate Cole Baker back at Atlanta. Danny Wells under fire. Diego Yepes going to move into 2nd place. Again, your top 5, well actually correction, your top 4 are drivers that did not pit under the yellow flag. Chris Washer in 5th position would be the highest driver in the field right now that we know for absolute certain can make it the rest of the way on fuel, as he was one of the drivers that pitted under that caution. Belding in 6th, Matt McIntyre in 7th, William Brock in 8th also we know can make it on fuel. He's top 4 though, big question mark. Auto Junction Racing now 1-2, Bryant and Yepes. Yepes now dives down to the inside for the top position. Diego Yepes, former winner in the Duracell Cup Series, a multi-time winner back in, I believe it was season 1? It was either season 1 or season 2 when he drove the number 0 Citgo Chevrolet. But now signing on with AJR and trying to see if he can pick up another victory here. First of the season in season 5. Been a long time since we've seen him behind the wheel of a race car here in the Duracell Cup Series. Been a long hiatus for him. But he's got to get around his teammate to do it, and JT Bryant's not going to yield the top side through 3 and 4. You know, Anthony McCurry's got a fast race car. Not too far away from Anthony McCurry's hometown of Richmond. Will be at Richmond International to start off the playoffs, that short track. So Anthony would obviously like for himself and teammates Mike Telly or Nick Gunther to be battling for the championship when they get there. He'll slot into 2nd place and now sets his sights on JT Bryant. Obviously had a fast race car in qualifying. Out-qualified everybody. He was even 8/100ths of a second faster than Dave Campos. So 29.426 was the lap time that McCurry laid down that Panda Express Chevrolet to capture the pole position. Here comes Belding in the 19. Remember, he gave up the race lead when that caution came out to come down pit road, make sure he was going to make it on fuel. Drop back to 8th on the restart, and now trying to make his way back up inside of the top 5. Right now in 5th, looking for another spot in Diego Yepes, nothing doing. JT Bryant crosses over on McCrory for the race lead. McCrory's going to have drafting help on the top side, though, from fellow Chevrolet Danny Wells. Bryant will have the preferred line through 3 and 4, though. Can he get back to the throttle through the center of the corners? The big question. Looks like he did. Nice corner there for JT Bryant, and he will lead this lap by a splitter. He'll now have the definite preferred line, the shorter way around the racetrack, the inside line into 1 and 2, so McCurry's going to start falling back. Belding got kicked up there as well. He's going to start losing a couple of spots. Danny Wells now slots up into 2nd, Diego Yepes into 3rd. Let's remember that with the 15 and the 78, they started playing strategy very early on in this race. Both of them stayed out 1 lap longer than the rest of the competition on the first round of green flag pit stops, and then 2 laps longer on the second round of pit stops. So I believe it's that type of strategy that they played out today that has them where they are now, up here with a shot of potentially winning this Coke 600 event. Chris Washer now up to 3rd. What a story it would be for him. Now, we talked about with Sean Arndt finding victory lane, the limited number of starts that the 95 team out of EGM has made. We have another similar story of Chris Washer. We're able to go to victory lane here tonight. 44 team has made even less starts than the 95 team. I'm hearing slower engines up ahead. And that's Stephen Paul with the 3rd in the 09, who I don't remember seeing get involved in the wreck, that last caution, but might be down a cylinder. And they are going to catch him here in the corner into turn 3. Have to start making the passes here on the crooked D-shaped front straightaway. This is not going to be good for somebody. Looks like that somebody's going to be JT Bryant in the 77. Stuck up there on the outside line, and he's going to start falling to the back. And they are all lined up on the inside line, so there's no space, I don't see, anywhere inside the top 10 for JT to be able to slot in. Danny Wells, Anthony McCurry going to lose some spots there as well, trapped on the top side behind the 09. Landscape at the top 5 just changed. William Brock's now up to 2nd, Washer in 3rd. Matt McIntyre is now in 4th, and Vince Elmriego in the top 5 as well in that 01. Looking to get back-to-back points-paying wins for that Adrenaline Motorsports team. Jack Mitchell finding victory lane about 3 weeks ago at the Daytona Road Course to finish out the first half of the regular season. Chris Dollerton right there as well in the 6th position. It looks like Zach Rogers is up to speed with this lead group, but he is a lap down. First car, 1 lap down in the 18th position. As a matter of fact, when the leaders got around Stephen Palmer III, that picked Rogers up another spot. So he is running 18th place right now. He was running around 26th, I believe, prior to that caution. So this race of attrition has benefited Zach Rogers in allowing him to finish up inside the top 20 when he was destined to finishing outside of the top 20, just inside of the top 25. And he's a teammate to the 32 of Chris Dollerton, so you have to wonder if maybe there'll be a bit of an alliance there between those two, with Rogers trying to help Dollerton win this race. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. They're going to be side by side down the back straightaway. William Brock yet to put a move on Diego Yepes. It's Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Dodge, the top 4. How democratic is that? All 4 manufacturers represented up here at the front of the field. Slow car going to be up ahead. Bruna Harumi in the 21. Looks like they're going to catch her coming off of turn number 2. And Brock decides that's the time to make the move. To the inside goes the 48, and it's going to work. What a pass for the race lead, maybe even for the race win. William Brock going to go to the point into turn 3. Yepes drops back to 2nd. Matt McIntyre under fire from Chris Dollerton for 4th place as Chris Washer gets trapped in the top. Dollerton moved up to the top side, now slots back down to the bottom. And here comes Tristan Allen. He's been sporting front-end damage for pretty much all but 10 laps of this race. And he's got a shot at the top 5, maybe even a win. He's getting a big push from Jose Mills in the 38. Yepes back to the point on William Brock. Brock's got to get down to the inside, make sure that Matt McIntyre doesn't get there. Oh, he's looking, is Matt, and I think he's there. He is, so now it's going to be side by side for second place between the 27 and the 48. Yepes loving this right now, as this time down the back straightaway. It's going to be 3.5 laps to go. Or 4.5 laps to go, I should say. Matt McIntyre, fellow Blue Oval behind him, and Jose Mills. They look to move to second and third. Ryan Brommer in the 31 is now up here in the RaceGearMerch.com Chevrolet. Still side by side for second. Diego Yepes loving this right now because neither lane's going to get a run on him. He can control the draft. Mills is clear for second place though now. So it'll be a mano-a-mano, 78 versus 38 down the back straightaway. Brommer looks to move into third. Can he get clear of Matt McIntyre? Not quite. They're still going to stay stacked up third place on back. Now Brommer gets clear off of turn number 4. Matt McIntyre may have brushed the wall there off the final corner. JT Bryant moves into 4th, McIntyre into 5th. Now Bryant looks for 3rd. Mills with 3 laps to go, all over the back bumper of Yepes, who saw right there, that car must be getting tight because he yanked the wheel to the left through the center of the corner to make sure that Mills couldn't get a run to the inside line. Big run for Bryant there. He sent it into turn 3. That might have been costly. And Bryant's coming to pit road. Bryant couldn't make it on fuel. Remember, we mentioned that a couple of drivers did not come to pit lane. Bryant was one of them. I believe Yepes was one of them as well, and Anthony McCrory was. So does Yepes have enough fuel to be able to make it? And does he have enough car to be able to hold off Jose Mills? It's going to be the white flag this time by. Yepes is, I think, committed. He's got to stay out. He's got to run this thing till it's dry. White flag waving this time by Diego Yepes. His Toyota versus the Ford of Jose Mills. McCrory, I believe, just hit pit lane. He couldn't make it on fuel. Mills has got to make the move here on the back straightaway into turn 3 if he's going to have a shot. He can't wait off of turn 4, and he's losing ground to Diego Yepes down the back straightaway. Through 3 and 4 for the final time. Does Yepes have the fuel to get there? He's a little slow through 3 and 4. Mills got to run, but it's not going to be enough. Diego Yepes is going to pick up the victory here tonight in the Coca-Cola 600. The 78 team out of Auto Junction Racing came into this event the only team inside the top 5 in the point standings without a victory. Well, that narrative is going to change after tonight. Potentially now putting themselves into a playoff position for the championship. And they had to do it on fuel strategy. Remember again, I'll go back to what I said back on that last restart. Yepes and Danny Wells both came to pit road a lot later than everybody else. So they could have been the only 2 drivers that could have stayed out and saved enough under pacing to make it to the checkered flag. As a matter of fact, it looks like Danny Wells had to pit in the closing stages. So Yepes was really one of the only drivers up inside the top 7 from that restart that made it the distance on what he had in the tank. What a job there by Diego Yepes. That'll mark the 2nd win on the year for Auto Junction Racing and 1st win of the year for the 78 team. Standings are official. Diego Yepes, I believe this is his 3rd career victory. I'd have to look back, but I believe it's his 3rd career victory in the Duracell Cup Series. He holds off one of the best in the business, Jose Mills, for the win. Ryan Brommer will finish in 3rd, Matt McIntyre in 4th, and a great run there for rookie Andrea Saric. She's going to get 5th place. Chris Dallerton was 6th, Tristan Allen, comeback run for him in 7th, Danny Bouchard in 8th, Chris Washer 9th, and William Brock will complete the top 10. There's a number of teams right there that needed good runs down there in the center of the point standings, and they got the good runs needed here tonight. The 44 team is obviously a big one, but also the 99 team, the 31 team, and the 48 team all really needed good performances here this evening. Vince Almriego will finish 11th. Danny Wells did make it without having to pit, but he dropped back to 12th. Stephen Colon and Dave Campus were the last drivers to make it without having to make a pit stop in the closing stages, and they will all finish on the lead lap. Anthony McCrory was the first car one lap down, having to pit with I think it was coming to the white flag, actually. He'll finish in 15th. Zach Rogers, 16th. JT Bryant, Charles Belding, Stephen Pollard III in 18th and 19th. A little surprised there about Belding. I thought that he did come down pit road, so I would have thought they would have topped off that car good enough for him to make it to the end, so maybe a little bit of a miscalculation there. And then completing the top 20, last car to finish, 3 laps down, was Bruna Harumi. The rest of the drivers finished in the garage area after 2 cautions today at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Trent Dunham, Sean Arndt, RJ Bishop, Nathan Ormond, Zachary Fitzwater, Bradley Rheem, William Micros, Ali Rain, and Jessica Shelton. So that's going to conclude our coverage of tonight's race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Diego Yepes now joins the ranks of Levi McIntyre, William Brock, Mitchell Collins, and Benjamin Miles as a Coca-Cola 600 winner here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Congratulations once again to him, and these drivers now have begun their journey for their respective teams down the road towards the playoffs. We will continue on this road next week with the winding lefts and rights of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course configuration. Should be a good one. You're not going to want to miss it. Thank you all for tuning in to tonight's race, though. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like. Subscribe to part of the crew today. We have shown you your full feature results. You'll see your point standings in the pre-race next week at the Indianapolis road course. And once again, just to remind you all, be sure to head on over to the Back to Bristol 2022 GoFundMe fundraiser. Donate what you can to be locked into special events, special series, and diecast raffles from now until the month of August. But until next week at the Indianapolis road course, I've been Seth Cole. See you guys then. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.